Right, so done the various carburetor bits. Dashboard come up quite nice. Gonna give it a little bit of steel wool over the edges, but otherwise I'm quite pleased with that. It's come up clean. Interestingly, there's some almost like grip marks around the edge of it. I don't know what someone's been doing here. Grip marks along there as well. Why on earth you need grips on a dashboard, I don't know. You can't account for what previous owners do with their vehicles, can you? Right, okay, I'm just cleaning up around the base of this, the bit that the ultrasonic clean didn't really get to. I've got these little brushes as well. These are really useful. You have to straighten the wires every now and then, but they're very good. And they're quite soft at going at the edges just to clean stuff up. Where I wouldn't want to use a wire brush, let's say on a drill bit like that, which is quite abrasive. It will scratch the crap out of a soft alloy finish like this, whereas that didn't, you see, quite nicely. Right, okay, the piston, you can see instant improvement here in the centre of the damper. There's still some water in this. I need to give it a proper blowout with the blowgun. It's not bad. You can see it's come up nice and clean. The outside of the damper is nice and clean. If I put the damper back in, it still sticks. Right, okay. The reason it still sticks is because I haven't got the spring in there. We put the spring in, woo, and then put the damper in. It does feel a lot more. It's got some more go to it. I'll lube it up. I think with the SU carburetor, it relies on a snug fit between these rings here and the inside of the dashpot casing to allow for the change in the vacuum between the inlet and the outlet of the carburetor to raise the piston, which draws more fuel in through the inlet, whereas a Stromberg has a nice diaphragm, you see, and is less reliant on the snug fit between those two parts there, which is why this is quite tight. I expect though when it's all together it will work nicely. Okay, this is a bit weird. So what I've done is I've taken the second carburetor apart and found a slight anomaly. Something I hadn't expected in the first carburetor was this sleeve with the C-clip at the top, which was holding it all together. On the second carburetor, no C-clip, no sleeve. And I thought, that's weird. Then I looked in the dashpot and saw it in the dashpot. There it is in the dashpot with the big washer at the bottom holding it all in. If I take the C-clip off the top of the first carburetor that I cleaned up, let me just see if I can get that off without it firing across the workshop, which I've done. And then the sleeve comes off, and after the sleeve there's a big washer. So if I was to put that sleeve into and then put the washer in there, it fits. So what the fuck is the C-clip on there for? I don't understand. I really don't understand why that is like that. Because that C-clip you wouldn't be able to access unless the damper was still in. Maybe that's it. Maybe you have to take the C-clip off before you take the damper out. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip that washer back into the dashpot on the first carburetor that I work with. So let's see how that goes. This could be interesting, couldn't it? Oh, you fucking bastard! Right, turn that off. A fair amount of swarf on that fella. Right, let's see if we can. Right, so that's pinched into place. Now, I'll put the dashpot in there. That is a load better. Come up quite nicely. I mean, bearing in mind it's had what, I think 25 minutes in the ultrasonic cleaner. It has come up pretty nice. Interestingly, there's a weld there. I don't know if you can see that. There's a weld right in that joint there. And someone has, I think, broken the throttle mechanism. And rather than replace it, they've stabbed a spot of weld into it. I don't have a problem with that. Oh, sorry, the reason it's not closing is because I've got my tissue stuck in it. Let's get rid of the tissue. I was wondering then for a second why that wasn't closing. And here we've got the choke mechanism works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the choke mechanism off the side here and just blow through the various jets inside the carburettor. I could probably do that here. If I open the choke, hey, you can see all the crap coming flying out. Probably don't need to do that now. Right, there's a jet there. I don't know what that's for. I need to understand SU carburetors better, don't I? There's a vent down here. That's the float chamber vent, very similar to the one the SU has, except the SU's goes up inside the carburetor body. And that's the pickup there for the vacuum advance for the ignition. As I say, 90% of ignition issues are fuel related. Right, okay, what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm going to clean up this face here, get rid of this gasket because I don't need that anymore. And then I need to just identify the carburettor and take it away and order new O-rings for the bottom end and check the tolerances of the needle and the jet, which is here. So there's the jet, there's the needle. Goes in quite snug. There's a little bit of crap just on the end there. It might just be a little bit of emulsified fuel. It's scratching on with my finger. Because this car was left standing for a number of years. Now it goes on much nicer now. I'll double check what the tolerances are for the jet, but to be honest, that jet looks quite good, but then it's been through the ultrasonic cleaner, so it's difficult to tell. And then I'll reassemble the carburettor with new bits in it, and I've got to do the other one. Right, it's just finished its final ultrasonic bath. I had to rotate it a couple of times because it seems to be that the ultrasound works its way from the bottom of the tank rather than from the top. But overall, considering I've done nothing with that apart from bathe it, it's come up pretty clean, isn't it? Right, I am going to go and give him a rinse off under the tab. Then I'm going to jet him off with the air. Then I'm going to loosely assemble while I'm waiting for the gaskets. This area here is on the inlet side, inlet manifold side of the carburettor. And you can see it's been really hot. So I wonder if this if this engine was running some pre-ignition, pinking, I don't know. But yeah, I mean that's a sign. I didn't see that on the other carburettor. Did see other problems on the other carburettor, but not that. So I tried to steel wool it out. You can see I've steel wooled it. It's still there. That heat stain. I'm not fussed about it because I think it will work. Right, so carburettor. Where are we with the carburettor? Right, okay, so the carburettor's come out. It's had that side done and that side done. You can see there's areas up here which I'm actually able to just rub off with my fingers. So what I might do is put that side down for this time, leave this side up. It's having about 4 minutes a session, to be honest, but you can see how much nicer it's looking. So let me pop that back in again. Actually won't go into the tray that way up. So, tell you what we'll do. Get rid of the tray. I've got a couple of metal bars. Where's my metal bar gone? There it is. So if I get the metal bar and I run it across the tank, I don't care about this metal bar. This is a good metal bar, this one. So if I run the metal bar across the tank, because the trick is to keep the carburettor off the bottom of the tank. I don't want the carburettor to be resting on the bottom of the tank. Right, I'm going to give it another go. So what I've done there What do you reckon? Will it work? Okay, so not the prettiest job, but I managed to straighten that old float chamber cover over. And the way I did it, really, was by clouting it with a rubber hammer. So you can see there that I've been able to get it fairly tight. Now, I'm happy enough with that because there is a hulking great O-seal which I'm going to replace. That goes. So how did I do it? Right, effectively, or not effectively, as the case may be. It was a case of using sockets and just tapping things into areas where I thought there might be some movement. Now, it's not beautiful, but it will do the job. Just see if we can. So which way it goes that way round. It's better than a kick in the face. It's better than it was. I'll tell you what. If I can get another float chamber cover, I will. If, however, a new O-ring will seal the fuel in here, because I don't want to be pissing around with fuel. If a new O-ring will seal the fuel into the float chamber, then I shan't bother. Let's just put these screws back in again and see where it goes to. And I've got a carburetor body to pull out of the ultrasonic cleaner. It's the other one. It's been in for its second turn. I'll go through that in a second, because I might not be able to use the video that I made of it going in, purely because I had the ultrasonic cleaner going. In fact, looking at this carburetor, I can see someone's had this problem before. There's a whacking great dent there, and there. So I reckon someone's had this problem before with these float covers warping. I shall research. Being hidden by the inlet manifold and the rocker covers. Right, so that's that one that I've just been hammering around. So you probably can't see. Oh, right, okay, let's do it this way around. It's a lot better.